I'm looking forward to this. Why? Because I love being a hater. Okay, I'm just gonna go right into it, but with context. These are not the only booktok books that have gone viral. These are the only ones I've read, so the only ones I can safely review and rate. So top line is like incredible, I think about it every day kind of rating. Second line is like really good, no faults. Middle line is meh, good, not my thing. Fourth line is crap on my shoe, and D is burn it before I burn the author. And I'm gonna tell you now, there's gonna be a lot in the last line, okay? There is. I can already see the ones that I have a hatred for. So let's just get started. First things first, 𝙀𝙧𝙖. Now this was good. I am a big hater of Greek mythology rewrites because I'm Greek and they are all so shit and do my culture no justice. And it's like they don't do any research, they just read the myths and run with it. So I'm gonna put this here. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's just not my favorite kind of thing. Archer's Voice, same thing. I enjoyed it. I can understand the hype around it. No faults, but also not my favorite thing. People We Meet on Vacation. Oh wait. Okay, well, I forgot to film, so I'm gonna do that now. The first two you can pretend. You can pretend. People We Meet on Vacation. Come on now. Absolute bullshit. It's awful. Yellow Phase. I only read this recently, but it was genuinely so good. It was my first R.F. Kuang and the only like booktok book where I was like deserved, you know. Spanish Love Deception. It was okay. I feel like it's either B or C. Like, it wasn't the best book I've read, but it wasn't crap. I'm gonna leave it in C, but like, it was good. It wasn't my favorite, but also I've read better and enjoyed others more. So we'll leave it at that. Let me tell you what I mean. Also, before any of you have a go at me, these were like on official like booktok list. Like, I did my research of like top books on booktok from 2022 to 2025. And these are all on these lists, so don't have a go at me, okay? Let me tell you what I mean by Joan Didion. Come on now, it's Joan Didion. I will say, like, a lot of these I didn't read because of TikTok, so like, let me tell you what I mean. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Love Redesign, The Bell Jar, Secret History. Like, there are so many here that I didn't. The Fine Print, oh my god, The Fine Print. There are so many here that I just read, like, kind of either before it kind of got big, or some of them were sent to me, or I'll go into the stories, but some of them I literally found just randomly. So Joan Didion is one that I've always kind of been reading, not because of booktok, but it was on the list. Midnight Library. You know what, it's really weird doing this now because so many of these I read like 2-3 years ago, and I'm sure on my Goodreads they're like highly rated, like 4 stars, some of these, and I would rate them so differently now, I think, but also I don't have the energy. I read so much, I don't have the energy to go back and like change the ratings, because like the Midnight Library was okay. It wasn't Matt Haig's best book, but it also wasn't crap. But also I can understand why people wouldn't like it. So it's like you've almost got to be like, when I read it, it was the perfect time for it to reach me. And now I read things that I feel are much more literary and skilled and you know, deep. Not the romances, most of them, but you know. So yeah, it's weird. I love Matt Haig as a person though. Very political person, so I fuck with his shit. So I just think out of like enjoyment, I wouldn't enjoy this as much anymore. There are other books of his that I probably would enjoy more though, because I've read most of them. The American Roommate Experiment. It's the same. I read this when I was in LA almost 2 years ago, which is crazy that was that long ago. I can't tell which one I preferred. You know, like it's so like they're just meh. Body Keeps a Score. Okay, this one's hard because for some reason I read it when I really needed to read something about trauma, which is what the book is about, and a lot of people don't like it because the doctor includes clients of his, I think, from what I remember, where they were like rapists and things, and it was almost kind of like excused from their own trauma. I think as someone so deeply invested in like true crime and psychology and things like that, to an extent these things are complex, they are complicated. Never in my life would I side with a rapist. But psychology wise, some of them have psychological reasons for their bullshit. I don't even like how I worded that, to be honest, because I don't fuck with that. Aside from that, and it's really weird because when I read it, I don't remember reading that. I feel like that is something I would remember. Like, I'm so hypercritical of shit like that, so I just feel like I would remember that. But anyways, it was aside from that, it was a good book, and I'm just gonna put it here for now because I remember like at that time that I had read, I was reading loads of self-help books at this time that I'm like thinking about, and so many of them were so bad. like how did they get published bad? And this was the first one I came across that was like actively saying like, be creative, do art, do yoga, do this, do that. Now you get that in every book, but I remember that being like the first book where I came across like, okay, I can understand this kind of thing. So yeah, it was a decent written book. I don't love the ideologies in it. I don't agree with the ideologies in it. Would I spend money on this book again? No. I think that's the best way to put it. A Little Life. Ugh. I hate to agree with some of you. I do. It's not in my nature. However, this book was brilliant. It was so good, and I always say this, if you watch me a lot, you know that I say this every time I bring up this book. There is something so strong and beautiful about a book that is the biggest tragedy in a singular book ever, yet has moments of pure love and delight and happiness, because it's very common I've noticed it's very common where there are like books. For example, the first one to come to my mind is The Goodbye Process, which the concept is so like me, like I love that concept of a book, where it was basically loads of little stories of like pain, basically. And it didn't have any moments of happiness. And I know what you're thinking, it's a tragedy, it's not supposed to, but it is. That's the reality of life, of trauma. I am, you know, someone with PTSD, but that doesn't mean that my life is horrible, because it's not. I'm actually happy most of the time. Even when I'm struggling these days, I'm not. Like, because I can get through it and see that light in my life. And it was so lovely to read a book that was a tragedy but had the realism of life is complex and we have amazing moments during really fucking awful moments. And it's rare that that is in books, and I hate that it's rare, but it is rare. Anyways, clearly I loved it. My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a solid A. That sounded Australian. I think if you've read this book, you'll understand it. Like, why it's this rating. It's so good, and I think also a lot of us were surprised, not just by the contents of the book, but by her writing skills, because it's actually well written as well. Yeah, it was really good. I didn't have any complaints. This book, on the other hand, I hated it. It was so bad. I hate books like this. It reminds me so much of Luster, and I hate books like that. And is it here? It is here, and I'm gonna put it in now. These are the same. Sex and Rage and My Year of Rest and Relaxation are the same. So is Luster. This whole concept of like women who like to fuck because it's quirky and it's used as a form of essentially self-harm, and they're weird girls, they're manic girls, and it's a weird girl, but no, it's just fucking stupid. If you want real weird girl books, just read Jenny Slate. That's all you fucking need, my dudes. I have a list of like proper weird girl books that I love so much. This is not weird girl books, nor is it Sex and Rage, nor is it Rest and Relaxation. It's literally none of the above. I hated these books. I think they were absolute fucking shit. I would give Eve Babbitt's another go, because this is the only book of hers that I've read. Atesha Moshfegh. I'm her biggest hater. Okay, I've had books by publishers sent to me, and I thought, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna give her a go. Hated it. I've got more of hers, and I'm just gonna read them to see if there's at least one I can like. But every single fucking book of hers I hate. Can't stand the author. I can't stand it. I really can't. Speaking of another book I can't stand, one of my biggest videos on YouTube is me talking about how much I hate Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Such a bad book. But this isn't hate on the author, because I loved Daisy Jones, which is here. So I'm gonna put this here. Yeah, Seven Husbands was so bad. It was at that time of like peak era of like, this is so hyped, you must read this, you know. I was told at the time by friends like, you will love this, but I'm offended. It was so bad. And this is hate to TJR, but why are you as a straight white woman talking about the experience of a queer coloured woman? Same with Atesha Moshfegh. Why are you as a straight woman talking about a queer male? I don't get it. Because like the thing is, you can talk about those people and those experiences because they live all around us. We are, for the most part, in these first world countries, integrated to such an extent that we almost lose focus of, hey, these people still lead different lives. Like my life as a queer person, as a queer woman, is very different to a queer man's, blah blah blah. It's such a complex subject. As a main character though, and speaking from their point of view, it's crazy. Like I have POC characters, but they're never ever in my lifetime, in my books, going to be the main character. Why? Because it's not my story to tell. I wouldn't know where to begin, but it's not my story to tell anyway. Even if I sat there and I did the research, that's not my story to tell. Read Yellowface. I just realized that's the entire plot of Yellowface. Please go read Yellowface. I've had enough. I can't. Icebreaker. Okay, I enjoyed Icebreaker. Cheesy, cringy. I can understand why people don't like it. It was just another romance to me. I didn't hate it though. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I was surprised to find this on the list that I researched because I have barely seen this on BookTok. However, it was there and it's my favorite series ever. Thank you to BookRake because they sent me the entire fucking series. Crying in 𝙀𝙀𝙧𝙖𝙀𝙀. This was really good as well. I kind of preferred it, I think, a little bit to I'm Glad My Mom Died. But Crying in 𝙀𝙀𝙧𝙖𝙀𝙀 is just, again, beautifully written, stunningly written, and like well worth all the hype that it received. Love redesigned. It was okay. Song of Achilles, okay. I'll give this one to Madeline Miller, okay? She's the only person who's written a Greek mythical retelling where I've been like, that's how you do it. That is how you do it. What else can I say? Okay. The Kiss Quotient. I love this one actually. I didn't expect to love that one, but I did. Love Theoretically. I get stuck here. This is where I get stuck. Love Hypothesis was like one of the first books that I read from BookTok, and I really liked it. And I still have a very big soft spot for that book. Love Theoretically, I think was progressive in the sense of like Ali Hazelwood's writing, because like I think as any writer gets kind of better and better as they keep going. So it was better story-wise, but I think this was the one where it was like mostly smart, and I was like, fine, I don't mind. But it was like I want the wholesomeness as well. But I like them both. Atlas 6. It's taking everything in me to not put this in the bottom row. Seriously, it really is. I actually recently just found, like literally 2 days ago, found the Atlas Complex for like £1 in the charity shop, and I got it because I want to give all these authors other chances. And I actually have been sent so many Olivia Blake's and all of her other pen name books, like 12th Night, her new one Gifted and Talented. Like I want to get into it, but the Atlas 6 at the moment is the only one I have experience with, and the concept is there, and she can write, but I fucking hated all the characters, and I just feel like the execution was shit. I feel like it's very similar to Evocation by S.T. Gibson, but I think Evocation is executed better. So I want to give it another go. I just did not like it at all. The fine print. I found this. I remember walking into my local Waterstones and seeing this on the romance table, and this was way before it had blown up, and I was like, I'd never heard of it, and I looked at it and I was so intrigued because the cover was so different to like all these like 𝙂𝙧𝙧𝙀, Icebreaker, people we meet on vacation, so like very different to those covers. And I was like, oh, this sticks out to me. I read the back, I was like, okay, cute, this sticks out to me as well. Like the concept is fun and unique and specific, and I loved it. I loved the entire series, and I really want Lauren Asher to keep making good books, because I didn't love Redesigned. But I will say that Lauren Asher is a good romance writer, so I do love that woman. Listen, this one's hard for me. Looking back, I really enjoyed this. At the time, I don't think I actually rated it a 5. But now, like, again, sometimes it takes a couple years of reflection, and this one did, and it reminded me very much of the vibes of, yes, Dead Poets, but also like Good Will Hunting and things like that. And those are some of my favorite movies that ever. I love that genre, I love those films, I love all of that stuff. So, it was really good. Reflecting on it, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but it realistically, again, probably a 5 stars. Love on the Brain. 𝙂𝙧𝙧𝙀 let me down with this one. If you haven't watched it, skip 20 seconds. The scene where she gets shot, tell me where that makes sense. Absolute American bullshit. It happened one summer. Very basic. It was okay, the sex scenes were hot, but it was basic. No, it didn't, Here's the thing. You've Reached Sam did make me cry. It actively made me sob. But it wasn't an amazing book. It was a sad book. It was sad. But I feel like I'm like battling with it, because actually it's not like all shit. It's just it's badly executed, even though they're decent stories and books. I don't know. Christina Lauren. Love, in other words. Don't look at me. I love this book, and I don't want to fucking hear it. The Bell Jar. Okay, this one I have beef with. I don't know where to put this. The thing is, right, it's like, it's well written, but like, I don't know. This is telling of my reading habits and how I rate them. I'm gonna put it there because I feel like it's very overrated. I feel like it was hard to follow, and that's someone who loves classics. Like, I'm a classic lover. I love complex, long books. This was just bleh. But it was still very good and very well written. Also, Sylvia Plath is like a racist, and so I just, I say that, but then like I swear half these authors are like, what's the word? Zionists. So yeah, I think I mentioned this in my last video, I think. Christina Lauren. No, I didn't. Did I? I can't remember. Christina Lauren. Let me see. TJR, actually. I'm trying to think if anyone else here. I don't think anyone else here have been dubbed as Zionist or neutral. So these are not books that I will promote or like make any money off, and I will certainly not be spending any money towards any of these authors. I buy secondhand anyway, so like I recently bought secondhand Christina Lauren, but for example, like if a new Hannah Grace came out, I'd openly be okay buying that firsthand, whereas Christina Lauren I wouldn't, because the money would go to Christina Lauren. You understand what I'm saying? Anyways, that's just something to keep in mind. So, looking at it, some of them are okay. There's some gold nuggets there, I'll give it to you. A lot of them are mediocre at best. And there's some, and like the thing is, like the bottom line, the hatred in my body exceeds the like for like second, third and fourth line by a mile. Like I hate them. So, and actually Sex and Rage, I found that in LA before I even knew who 𝙂𝙧𝙗𝙗 was, before anyone was talking about 𝙂𝙧𝙗𝙗𝙗, before Diddy and Babbitts was like a big bookstagram book. Like, I know 𝙂𝙧𝙗𝙗 is like a fucking like famous writer and has been for years and years and years and years, but like these were before they were on BookTok, so like I can't even blame BookTok for that one, which I want to, believe me, because you all made me read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, fucking crummy ass book. And my year I'm getting into it. I'm gonna stop right there before it gets too much. This was my review of BookTok books. I love you guys, even though you recommend me awful books, and I hope to see you in next week's videos. If you enjoyed this, let me know. If you agree, let me know. If you don't agree, quite frankly, I don't care. I'm just telling the truth, guys, sorry. Anyways, I'm joking. Love you guys, and I will see you next week.